Hi, this is Zach here with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Friday, the 18th of July. Starting off with the FTSE 100, which is still very near to the top of that channel there, 90.45, I suppose, nominally level now, but we're looking for that by the end of this month, or the top of the channel at least. Above that, looking for as high as 92.20, which is the steeper May rising trend channel there, and looking for that by the end of next month. In the meantime, hoping that this market will remain above the 89.20 area, which it's so far done, which was basically the old February, or rather March and June resistance area for 89.10, probably a better level, and the floor of the channel there coinciding with that particular level. The other point to note is we've had an RSI rebound from well above neutral 50, which is helpful. If there is a rug pull below 89.10, then the 50-day line 87.96, a likely destination, but no sign of that at this point unless Trump goes completely mad. Moving on to the DAX, and here we've had another successful bounce for this market above the 50-day line. In fact, we've had several bounces for this market above the 50-day line. That tends to be a leading indicator on the upside, as is the way we've had a bounce at neutral 50 of the RSI. We've had two of those before earlier this month, so three in the month so far, which means leaves us looking for 25,000. Perhaps as soon as the end of this month, 25,100, the top of that channel there from back in the spring of last year, the analogous formation to what we are seeing on the FTSE 100. On the downside, nothing worse than the 50-day line that really is on the cards. I suppose the worst case would be the old March resistance, 23,500, if there was a rug pull. Moving on to the Dow, and here it's been a case of being basically between 44,000 and 45,000. With the aftermath of the Golden Cross and RSI bouncing above neutral 50, we are hoping and expecting this market to break 45,000 and hit the top of the channel there from May last year as high as 47,500 by the end of next month. If you look closely, I suppose you can see a line of resistance to be broken there from the early part of this month. That's running at around 44,600, so that is the level to beat. And I suppose the whole thing here in the recent past has been a flag formation ahead of a potential move to the upside. Speaking of moves to the upside, and we've got the situation at Bitcoin, and here a nice flag above old resistance, so basically based around the 115 to 121 level. We obviously had that overshoot to 123, but currently we're in the accelerated rising trend channel, the red one there from the end of March. Top of the channel there going for 144 basically, and we're looking for that while we remain above the floor of the channel there, currently around the 115 level. So above 115, looking for 144 by way of the top of the existing channel there, the black channel, which is currently running towards $126,000. But nice consolidation there at the higher levels, and hoping that maybe over the weekend we can have a go at breaking the top of that rising trend channel from last year. If we do break down below 115, then 112, the old May peak, the obvious place for support to come in. Not expecting anything lower than that. On to gold, and here it's been a long consolidation for this market, still not quite out of the woods in terms of breaking higher. We have had a bounce or bear trap rebound from below the 50-day line there at 33.20. Floor of the channel around 3,300, so above 3,300, looking for 34.30, which is an April resistance line. If we can get through that, then it would be up to 3,800 by the end of next month, although at this stage, difficult to see what would take the market that much higher than recent ranges. Moving along to the stocks, and starting off with Atome Energy, which has bounced off its falling 200-day line, which tends to be a show of strength, back above the rising 50-day moving average at 50 pence, and looking for at the top of that triangle there for November as high as 67 pence by the end of next month, or even sooner. The key here is keeping with yesterday's support there at 48 pence. So above that, then we're feeling chipper. The other point to note is that we had the shares gapping up ahead of the May rally, which was from around 38 to 66, and we've got them also gapping up today. So maybe that is a sign we are on our way. Interesting charting at the moment with Argo blockchain, because obviously if you listen to crackpot people, obviously they say the company's going bust, maybe doing that, but at the moment, nice recovery there from the overshoot to the downside below a penny, and we're already up at 2.65 pence. Interesting things at the moment, or thing at the moment, is the way that the RSI has gone back above neutral 50 at 55. We're also back above the 50-day moving average at 2.53, which would be a good look on an end of day close basis, end of week close basis. The other point is that we've got a gap to fill up to 2.88 pence, which hopefully we will do, even if we go back down again. Top of the falling trend channel there, 3.2 pence. Best case scenario on the upside would be 4.5 pence. I suppose if the company knew that we would have the Bitcoin price near 120 4 years ago, when we were up at 280p and £1 billion valuation. But who knows? History may repeat itself if the shares of the company can keep itself alive. Moving on to CapEx, and here nice recovery. I think the second target there hit at 0.2 pence. Above 0.2 pence, we were looking for the big win to retest last July's resistance at 0.45. I suppose the earliest that might happen now is the end of next month, but at least in the coming weeks, next couple of weeks, maybe we can retest the 0.3 pence area while we're above the old 0.2 pence resistance. On to Empyrean, which had a massive day yesterday. It exceeded most expectations. Here the call was that we were looking for, I think, the 0.06 area, then the 200-day line 0.11, and above 0.11, best case up to 0.2. Had a good go at the 0.2 today, with a peak so far at 0.155, but at least while we're above that 200-day line at 0.11, looking for 0.2 is a best case scenario target by the end of next month. I suppose the real sizzle here is that we've retained so much of yesterday's gains, in fact, almost all of them at the moment, which is very impressive. We don't normally see that, especially in a stock with a bit of a history, as that one has. On to FAB, otherwise known as Fusion Antibodies, and here the idea that we're broken out of that triangle there at 6.5 pence and could head up to the top of the range, 11 pence. Still alive, very much alive with today's price action. There is a bit of resistance around the 7.5 pence area, so a weekly close above that today would be a good sign, and could suggest that we're ready to head up to the 10 pence area. We've got the 50 and 200-day lines both rising in parallel at the moment, which is the equivalent to a golden cross. So looking very good indeed, especially as we've had that little RSI bounce at 60 as well. That should hopefully indicate we are on our way to a 10 pence plus target. Punchy call, but we've been in consolidation for a long time. Only below 6.5 pence, and the top of the triangle there really delaying the upside scenario. Really pleased that Hamak Gold is limbering up so nicely. We've already had it in a rising trend channel from back in March. The obvious thing now would be that we retest the peak that we had earlier this month at 3.15 pence. Hopefully we can do that in the next, by the end of this month would be great. We've gapped up today on the arrival of the Laffer curve man, which was amazing, really. He's almost Dr. Arthur Laffer, almost a celebrity as far as those in the mining sector are concerned, probably beyond that as well. So above today's gap floor there at 1.6 pence, looking for 3 pence by the end of this month. We've already had our golden cross, and we've already had our RSI 50 rebound. In fact, we've had a couple of them over the last month, so pretty impressive stuff there. On to ImmuPharma, which has had a rocky ride in the recent past, but it looks like it's going to have a go at breaking that February resistance line and the 50-day line at 2.5 pence. If we can do that today or on Monday, we're looking for a gap fill up to 3.3 pence by the end of this month. In fact, probably looking for that anyway, while we're above the old April support at 2.16 pence, or 2.2 pence, let's call it. RSI's pushed above neutral 50 for the first time in a couple of months as well, so it looks as though this turning point means business. In fact, it's been meant business since Wednesday when we had that strong candle, so somebody's obviously having a nibble. Moving on to Kavango, and here I think the glass is now firmly half full rather than half empty. We're looking for 1.6 pence and 1 year highs by the end of next month, while we're above the latest gap there around a penny. So above a penny, looking for 1.6 pence on Kavango. On to Mkango, where the great and the good are already, well, they've been behind it for a long time, but really enjoying their time, the time in the sun. Here you can see we've got this V-shaped rebound, tends to be a mid-move consolidation. Looking for the best case scenario target line there, 45 pence by the end of next month or even sooner. Ideally, it would be by the end of this month, but giving it till the end of next month and giving it till the end of next month while we're above 30 pence. That should be enough slack there. If you're cautious, I suppose you wait for an end of day close through 36 pence, the recent resistance. I don't normally look at the larger stocks, but couldn't resist Ocado. We're finally, I suppose it's still making losses, but the shares have gapped up and we followed through on a gap up day. Gap up off the low tends to be very significant, and obviously breaking the gap up day immediately is even more significant. In fact, I think we've gapped up today as well. Actually, the low today a little bit higher than yesterday's. I can't quite see it, but it looks as though it is a gap higher day. And also we've melted through the 200-day line at 294 as if like a blowtorch through butter. So above the 200-day line, looking for top of the recent range and the top of that rising trend channel base at £3.53. Maybe there is something going on there, because that is quite a strong turnaround, handbrake turn for the share price. On to Ondo, which has gone, the trail went a bit cold from the peaks that we had back in February, but it looks as though we're back in business, back above the May support there at 24 pence. Above that, probably looking for at least 30 pence and the area of the 200-day line there at that level. But just the first signs there with the RSI pushing above neutral, we've got a turning point, and we can maybe later in the summer head back towards the best levels of the year. Ideally, we stay above the 50-day line and recent initial July resistance at 23 pence in the meantime. Finishing off with Smarter Web, and here every day is a school day in terms of the charting. We've got resistance there at £3. We broke the resistance line there I drew the other day around £2.80, which then gave us the risk of a move down to the 50-day line. But the share's too strong to hit that 50-day line, which is impressive. I suppose the price channel is actually like that now rather than the way I've drawn it. So we're really looking for an end-of-day close above yesterday's 295 level to resume a potential retest of the £4 area. Presumably that would only happen with Bitcoin going to fresh record highs. Otherwise, the worst case here is we've got a risk of the test of that 50-day moving average at 201, and therefore maybe some people are looking to place orders to buy around that level, hoping that there would be a decent reaction. But we haven't been back below that 50-day moving average basically since the start. So very, very strong situation still. Don't underestimate how strong it is. That's, actually just one more to go. In fact, the stock which was described as a zero, which is obviously not really being a zero at the moment. I think the graphene area reviving itself, and we've got this beautiful U-shaped turnaround. All that we're missing now is basically the end-of-day close above the 50-day moving average at 0.029 on Versarien, and then the top of the range, best case scenario, 0.053 by the end of next month. The key here is we stay above recent neckline resistance at 0.019. If we can do that, then there could be at least a type of rally that we had last month happening sometime during August. That is it for me today. More updates over the weekend.